Gaming backlogs are a thing that every single one of us has to deal with, and it will always be a looming presence that will never stop haunting you, especially after dirty Steam sales, selling games for stupidly low prices, games that, maybe you'll play at some point in the next 5 years. For the past few months, I've been conquering my backlog, but that hasn't been enough to get through it, so this time, I'm gonna be destroying my backlog, which means I'm gonna be playing more games, with more explosions, with more tits, more violence. Oh yeah, get excited, fellas. Okay, let's see here. What's the first game on the list? It's very fitting to have Destroy All Humans of all games being an episode on destroying my gaming backlog, huh? I played the original Destroy All Humans remake when it came out, and I finished it. I never grew up with the game originally, so the fun of it wore off after like 2 hours, but I still finished the game. It's not a bad game by all means, it's just, I don't know, it's definitely a relic of its time. Now on the other hand, I did actually grow up with Destroy All Humans 2. I don't know how I managed to get it as a kid, considering the fact it was rated 15 in the UK, and my parents were those types of parents who refused to get me games that my age wasn't above the age rating of. Yet despite this, I somehow grew up playing Saints Row the Third and GTA 5. I don't know what happened there. I would spend hours and hours in Destroy All Humans 2 because it was an open world game. Well, it had multiple open worlds, so actually taking place in different countries. But I never knew that as a kid because I never got past the first area, considering the fact I never ever did any of the main missions. All I needed was that purple disc gun, and I was entertained for 12 hours straight. The remake looks visually great too. I loved the cartoony art style. Everything is just so pleasant to look at. Even Crypto's weird pulsating paws on the side of his head. They always catch my eye, and not for the right reasons. Those things are kinda scary. But despite all of this, I didn't have as much fun playing the remake. The missions fall into the same shit as the original Destroy All Humans. You're usually just killing humans, taking over their bodies to get information on more humans so you can kill even more of them. But this time it takes place in an open world with barely anything to do in it. This isn't me saying it's a bad game, don't get me wrong. I just think my childlike imagination and wonder has just gone. I mean, I'm 23 years old, what the fuck am I saying? Just having fun in the open world sandbox, throwing people around, laughing at the physics. That's something I did a lot as a kid, but I just can't find any enjoyment in doing that anymore. So instead, when I played it, I just focused on doing the missions, and it just felt like a checklist. It's not really something I can fix. I can't have the same fun I used to just fucking around in the open areas. I managed to get 2 hours into it, and I got to the second open area, which is literally just London, and I decided to drop the game to focus on something else. I think I might come back to it sometime in the future, but for now, it's out of my backlog and it's not a priority. Horizon Forbidden West is easily the most high quality Ubisoft game you can play. This statement is probably a bit confusing considering the fact Forbidden West isn't made by Ubisoft, but hear me out. It follows the exact same formula as every single Ubisoft open world game. It has all the staples like towers, except this time they're giant robot giraffes that move within a radius, and you need to plan how to get on top of it, which actually makes climbing the tower actually engaging. There's also bandit camps and outposts, which, well, they're just like every other bandit camp and outpost in any game. Their quality highly depends on the combat in the open world game they're in. Luckily though, one of the best aspects of Forbidden West is its combat, especially against the robots. Every single one has distinct weak spots that you need to shoot to be able to do any form of decent damage. Some of these weak spots are special crafting items you can get, and even heavy weaponry you can use yourself against the robot. That's actually one of the main reasons why I dropped Zero Dawn on the PS4, because I literally cannot aim with a controller for my life. So I sold it after learning a PC port was coming back in 2020, which was 4 years ago. Why is time a thing? Why does it keep moving? Why can't we just pause it sometimes? I'm having a literal crisis right now, and I'm not talking about the game, because I already talked about it in season 1 of my backlog series, Conquering My Gaming Backlog. Specifically, it was Conquering My Gaming Backlog, episode 5. Horizon Forbidden West is visually outstanding too. Like, in terms of sheer quality and its graphics, I don't think you can really get any better than this. I think this is literal peak. I can't say the same about the story because it's literally just this scene from Rise of the Skywalker.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
I'm not going to elaborate whatsoever on this. If you've played Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. I don't like the main character Aloy either. Aloy is annoying as fuck, mainly because of how much she talks to herself about puzzle solutions. solutions, and random ass obvious shit which is blatantly a way of the developers guiding the player, but it just ends up being downright annoying and kinda patronizing. It's definitely a good game though, but it plays everything far too safe with its open world, hence why I referred to it as a high quality Ubisoft game, and it's also why I ended up dropping it after 10 hours of playing.
One must imagine the Backlog gamer happy because I'm never finishing this, but I'm trying. And the most recent game that I've gone through on my backlog, well, Fallout 4 is way better than everyone is telling you it is. Hi, it's Brad of KindofBradAtThis, live service sucks, Mojang I do a lot of sucking. Wait, but recently, when I'm not, I've been playing a lot of Fallout 4, and I just gotta say it right away, Fallout 4 is way better than you think. I went into this game expecting, well, kind of the worst. It feels like this game was the start of the downward spiral that is Bethesda's reputation, but really, in playing it, yeah, I don't get any of the hate this game has at all. This game is kind of a masterpiece. Boston as a setting, unlike any other Fallout game, is just so alive because, you know, there's stuff to do in the world. While I've enjoyed other games in the series, I mean, New Vegas, I love you. I think it's pretty fair to say that these games are aging a little, poorly, and with Fallout 4, there's just so much to love. The art style alone goes a long way in really making this game feel timeless. I mean, aside from the lip movements, it looks like this game came out this year. The weapon customization system alone, let alone the settlements, creates this feeling that you're actually scavenging this wasteland for things you need, which is just kind of not in the other games. Add in the fact that Fallout 4 easily has the best environmental storytelling, shooting, and, well, guys, I'm gonna be honest, the characters in the story are surprisingly nuanced, and I think anyone who says they aren't, probably watched too many 4-hour-long video essays.
Either you execute dance, or I will, Knight. The choice is yours.
You think I shoot Rick? That is my best friend. That's a man that I love. I love him like he's my brother.
Fallout 4 is just wow. Anyway, Prox, thank you for having me. I'm gonna go back into my hibernation, and
Well, that was strange. Whenever I saw No More Heroes in videos and on Twitter, I would always think the game looked kinda stupid. I don't know, something about it just looked off to me. Then I actually played it.
Oh my God. I get it.
There will never ever be a game like No More Heroes again. Holy shit, it is awesome. Before I talk about the game, I just want to make it clear that I'm using some random ass long play footage, as I played it on my Steam Deck, so I couldn't record any of the footage for myself. So credit to insert name here for their footage. No More Heroes has you playing as a degenerate anime fan called Travis Touchdown. I'm not even joking here, this guy is an actual loser. His goal within the game is to become the #1 assassin, and he's manipulated into doing so by this French woman called Sylvia, who agrees to sleep with him if he reaches #1.
If I become #1, will you do it with me?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Come on, just once.
Again, I'm not even joking here, his entire reasoning for committing literal mass genocide is for a chance to fuck.
You set me up, bitch.
To take on any of these ranked assassins, you need to pay a fee to enter, and the way you get money within the game is by doing jobs. And I'm not talking about cool jobs, I mean doing shit like mowing a lawn. This is awesome. As mundane as these are, they feel essential for the game's pacing, because I think if it was just the missions and boss fights, one after the other, it would get stale extremely quickly, because No More Heroes isn't exactly in depth with its combat, so these moments of mundane chores make you really appreciate the simple combat even more. No More Heroes is a cult classic for an incredibly good reason. It absolutely slaps, and I'm so glad I finally played through it. Now I can't say the same for
Some people fuck at funerals. I cut off heads.
This scene is probably the best thing about this game. It is a pretty decent game, but it does a lot of things that just make me dislike it, especially compared to the first. The combat is far better, but it's still pretty simplistic compared to most action games. They also got rid of the open world, making you do jobs to pay an entry fee. You can still do jobs, but you don't need to because you don't have to pay a fee to do the missions, which means it falls into the trap of becoming pretty stale very quickly. Something this game brags about out is the fact there are 50 assassins this time you'll need to go through to climb the ranks, which is a huge step up, but then you get through the game and come to learn that 75% of them are killed off screen. Also, the assassins aren't as iconic as the original No More Heroes. There are some definite highlights, but a lot of them fall into the forgettable category. So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of this one. Cooking is very stressful. It's something I try to avoid doing in real life. I genuinely hate it. I could live the rest of my life just eating a slice of bread, but obviously my doctors are losers and say I shouldn't do that and eat fucking broccoli with my bread. Ugh. Who do they think they are? Overcooked 2 takes that stress and turns it into an arcadey co-op game. One that brings the absolute worst out of people. It's pretty awesome though, I can't lie. Now it would be one thing if you're doing all of this in a random ass kitchen with nothing else going on, but this is a game we're talking about. So you have to cook in places like a mine, a hot air balloon, and even a river for whatever reason. Who the fuck is ordering food in these places? These aren't just aesthetic changes though. Random things can happen that impact what you need to do to cook the food, and every single mission is something you literally need to brace yourself for because you never know what things will happen within that level. There's also time management with certain ingredients. Like for example, if you need to cook some meat for a burrito or a burger, there's a timer on that meat you're cooking, and if it goes over that time limit, it will start a fire and burn the food, meaning that's lost time because every order also has a time limit, which signifies when the customer who ordered it gets impatient and you end up losing money if the time runs out on it. It's not a casual experience, but it's a lot of fun, especially if you're looking for a co-op game to play with friends. Thank you all so much for watching the final episode of Destroying My Gaming Backlog. Well, at least the final episode within the season. It will make a return with a new name and a new intro with extra gimmicks within it. I constantly want to improve this backlog series and add new things onto it to keep it consistently fresh. And I really appreciate all of your support. I would love to know what games you've been playing within your backlogs. Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.